Hello everybody and welcome at tonight's SimRace SA 2021.2 round 4 of the SimTC series. It is me, Sachsenring. I will be your commentator tonight. Gonna be a fun and interesting race tonight, I think. Looking forward to it and already enjoying the cars just driving around the circuit and screaming at us. I'm really excited. I'll stop rambling and I'll get into the formalities. So while everybody is still running with practice, I'm gonna quickly go through our usuals. Let me just quickly do this. I'm gonna get that back so we're already seeing that, and we can start get going on the race info. So tonight we are at a little circuit called the Sachsenring. Took me a while to realize I was misspelling it while I was prepping for tonight, but as you can see on the track layout, it's quite an interesting. It looks challenging, but once I hopped onto the server and I just saw the amount of elevation changes, it absolutely blew me away. So I think it's going to be a challenging one. Nick has sent me a bunch of insights. I'll share that in a bit, and hopefully we can get some further insight into what to expect. Next one, in terms of the weather, let me just double check something quickly. Okay, so in terms of the weather, we're starting at a nice and cool 22 degrees Celsius tonight. Track temp itself will be 19 degrees, and there's a slight western wind. But it's looking like a circuit that had quite a bunch of supporting races before this, so nice and grippy track tonight. Not really too much variability for all the racers there tonight. In terms of HLQ division movement, unfortunately, I don't really have that insight in a graphic tonight, but I can quickly share who moved from where. So, due to a bunch of people withdrawing from the TC series, the drivers that would have been relegated to Div2 get to stay in Div1 tonight. And there's a whole bunch that had been promoted up into Div1. So Gregory Hofart, Dirk Brandt, Christy Simon, and Rian van der Westhuizen, they're the 4 drivers that got promoted up into the big leagues. So exciting! I'm excited to see what they can bring for us. Hoping for some good action as we're riding on board with Renier Leach right now. Hopefully we can get some fun out there. While they are busy with their outlaps, I'm gonna quickly show what a fast lap looks like, courtesy of our resident alien, Mr. Nick Hodgson.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to round 4 of the 2021.2 season here at SimRace SA for the touring car series. Of course, we are in the Volvo S14. We go flying across the line at Sachsenring, and we are looking for our first braking marker just at that little white line there on the left. Hard on the brakes. Don't lock up, though. Through the first corner on the right-hand side, keep the car nice and tight so you can get through Omega Curven nice and as narrow as possible. Through this right-handed section, I run out a little bit wide to get back on the power earlier, and we go up and over this little hill, feathering the throttle over this left-handed hill here. Obviously the track has a huge number of elevation changes, and down we go. And keep the car nice and tight on the left-hand side there. You don't want to run wide out on the right. It will give you a track cut. Flick the car through Volkswagen Curve and up and over the hill. You want to be in 4th gear to give yourself the best possible drive up and over the hill. Again, feathering the throttle over the crest here. And down the hill we go into 6th gear, looking towards the end of the track now. A couple of tricky corners coming up, but here we go on the brakes quite hard, managing the throttle, and you can see I get it a little bit wrong through the second last corner there. I don't like to use the green on the outside. I find it a bit slippery. And into the last corner, flick down into second, enter in third, and up and over the hill. And we cross the line for a 1 minute 24.287.
Alrighty, so it's thanks for that one. I haven't watched the full video, but watching through this tonight, that Volvo looks like an absolute handful, and this is definitely a track that is going to be working hard on tires, according to a bunch of the feedback I've gotten from a bunch of the chat, or people have been speculating whether they can make mediums work or not. It's gonna be interesting to see, I think. So let me just switch off this auto driver switch as we start getting some times in. So Nick just 0.03 of a second faster than Brett Crocomp there, and I'm sure they'll be running laps and improving even more still. So as the groups file in, just gonna head on over to the YouTube chat there and say hello to everybody. So Jandre Deppenaar, Basil van Rijn, Cleopas, who else is there? Hardis Boys, PK, Rudy van der Westhuizen. Hello everybody, Sonja Mostert as well as Mr. Ryan Hill. So hello everybody, welcome to tonight's stream. It's always exciting having some viewers here, just people sharing in the general passion that is this hobby called sim racing. And it's sometimes a weird one, thinking that I'm a bad petrol head, but I am thoroughly in love with the idea of sim racing. I'm just catching up. There seems to be a bit of a chatter on the back end side, people maybe not quite in the correct skins. I think everything is fine. Alright, so let's quickly see if I can switch to another driver, maybe someone on a fast lap. Ross Bartle is very likely to be on a very fast lap right now. Yes, he is 20 seconds up on his delta, so he hasn't had a good outlap yet. Just gonna stay on board with him for a moment and see where he finishes. As we see Bjorn Buchner popping up there, Stefan Herbst also popping up into 7th, so he's doing well for himself. Ooh, he does run wide. So quickly hopping back to what Nick had shared to me earlier today, he said at turn 7 and 9, we can expect some silly mistakes, because it's very easy to cut the track on the outside. So for quali, as I say that, Ross crosses the finish line and he goes fastest by quite a margin there, almost a full 1/10 of a second. So Nick and Brett is going to have to be working hard soon on that. Okay, Waldo seems to be on a very quick lap. I think this might be the end of his lap. And he crosses the finish line into 14th. So I'll go and hunt a bit more. Let's see, Pieter Geldenhuis. He's an old hand at this thing called sim racing. He's currently 2/10 up on his delta, so that can potentially gain him a position or two. Half a second. He is absolutely flying tonight. Luke Sylvester there. Hello, man. Welcome here. Always great to see everybody coming out to support the drivers. And Pieter Geldenhuis bumps up into 4th with a 1:24.9. So not quite close to the Point Blank Racing team there just yet, but he is bringing whatever he can. I'm gonna hop to Mr. Shiraz Dada. He's about right on his delta there. I need to have a quick look, make sure that the stream is running fine. Doesn't look like everything, well, everything looks healthy. It's running smoothly. Yo. As I said, so lots of elevation change. So Shiraz starting there, starting a new flying lap. Going to be interesting to see what he can manage there. And I might have to apologize in advance. The Highveld is doing typical Highveld things. Just before I went live, it started making some thunderous noises outside, so we're maybe expecting a bit of rain in Joburg tonight. Hopefully that doesn't disrupt the speaking too much on my end. I know that the cars are just blaring in my ears right now, so I can't really hear any of the weather outside. But our dogs were barking quite a bit. Okay, let's go find a new driver. Christy Simon. He is half a second up on his delta. There's a lot to improve to still get into, let's say, the top 10. But if you can get a decent lap in, you're bound to be to do well on this race. As I'm talking nonsense, I need to quickly look up this track map, because Sachsenring is it's a mod that was recently added to on race department, and I think, and by recently I'm saying within the last 6 months, it's become quite an interesting thing. I think it's pretty much synonymous with TC style racing, so definitely I think a very good fit for these cars. So Christy does not quite improve as much as he might have hoped. Okay, Nick just started a lap. Oh no, he had a positive delta there, but just then threw it away. Maybe he got a bit unsettled with the traffic in front. Ooh, one of the hard racing cars there up front, getting all kinds of sideways and going into the kitty litter. Okay, so Nick is probably going to be cooling down a bit, trying to manage the gap to Christy there, and find a slot so that you can get a fast lap in. So as I mentioned, with all the elevation change, it's very easy to overslide the car, and you can lose a huge amount of time. So we're in overtime right now. I don't think Nick started his lap. Well, I don't think. Yeah, he started his lap too late. Yes, and as I say that, he jumps back to pits. But Bjorn Buchner has potential here to improve his lap time if he doesn't run too wide. Okay, so by the looks of it, turn 7 should be just after that bridge. And Bjorn peels into the pits there. So I think from the last drivers out there, Warren Oates, he's not on a decent lap. Renier Leach, he's just finished his lap, and I don't think that was... I might have missed if he improved. Right, so Ross Bartle takes pole position. Nick Hodgson takes second. They cover up the front row there. Brett Kroukamp in third, and Pieter Geldenhuis doing very well, getting there into fourth position. Okay, I'm gonna go for a very quick ad break, and we'll be back shortly. Okay, so everybody is waiting. They're getting ready. We've got a total of 19 drivers out tonight. I think I only saw one person excuse themselves. Apologies. I only saw one person excuse themselves, so okay. Things are going. Let me switch to Brett there. Let's try and find a decent TV camera. I think that's going to be the best that I can get. Alright, so with 30 seconds to go, drivers will be loading up their setups, making sure that they're ready. And I'm excited. I'm excited. This is going to be a very intense battle. I'll share some insights in a bit, but right now our lights are starting to show. Waiting for that first one to come on. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Drop the clutch and away they go. It's just smoke as everybody pulls off the racing off of the start line there. Ooh, they're almost going 4 or 5 abreast into turn 1. This might be carnage. Ooh, someone getting slightly uncertain. There's a field of Volvos here tonight, and I think the majority of the teams getting custom liveries are not the big teams. So we're seeing a bunch of very similar looking cars. Ooh, someone in the back there got spun around. I think that was Warren Oates. Hopefully he can get the car turned around. There's still 20 minutes left in this race. In it to win it is what I say. Alright, so Renier Leach right on the back of Brett Krokamp there. Brett losing out to Pieter Geldenhuis in the first corner there. Gonna be interesting to see him pull this together. Ooh, and as I say that, they run very, very wide. Tires might still not be quite up to temperature. And I'm looking here and I'm realizing Mr. Pieter Geldenhuis, he's one of the SRAC drivers and he was a bit naughty. He should have selected, or was I maybe looking at a different car earlier today? Let me double check. Okay, so in the Volvos there isn't an SRAC livery available. Okay, big field of Volvos here coming up front, and they're managing to just keep it nice and clean. Just hopping back there, Stefan Herbst, he's looking very dicey with there behind James Leach Sr. Was a bit of a chop and change. Brett Krokamp making his way back in front of Pieter Geldenhuis. But Nick and Ross is already checked out in front, and Nick is working hard to try and build the gap to Brett, but Brett will not let up. I will quickly switch to that, because this might make for some very interesting racing. I'm keeping an eye there on Sean Hards and Gregory Hofart, as well as James Leach. They're a big train of cars there battling for 10th, 11th, 12th and 9th. With Dirk Brandt building the train. I'm switching around there. So Dirk and James Leach switches around. The same for Sean Hards and Gregory Hofart. I'm expecting Dirk to be applying some pressure very soon, driving that Beamer very hard to try and gain some positions here. Okay, Stefan Herbst up in front. He's managing an overtake into, I think that was turn 1. Yes, turn 1 on Gerard Niemand. So he'll be looking to be putting some pressure on James Leach Sr. very soon. Just look at that helicopter fly in the background there. Such attention to detail, as Ryan has mentioned. Oh no, James Leach Sr., he must have had an off. I was looking at the helicopter, all distracted, and then must have missed it. Renier Leach up in front. all over the back of Pieter Geldenhuys there. I'm sure Pieter is sweating there, but working hard at keeping things consistent, keeping it clean. Renier just not able to make that overtake stick. I do see down in 17th, Shiraz Dada. He's running very close to Warren Oates. Oh, I almost thought Renier was going to go for the move there. He decides against it. Let's try and find a nice camera angle to look at. On board, just looking at them work those shifters. Do see Waldo Swiggers and Gregory Hofart switching around places. I'll go and find those battles now, but I think right at this moment, this is going to be a battle for fourth that we won't want to miss. Ooh, Dirk Brandt has a moment. So Gerard Niemand, he's also applying some pressure on Stefan Herbst there. Stefan managing the overtake earlier, but just not able to put enough daylight between him and Gerard yet. This might develop into a pretty nice battle throughout this race. Ah, in the chat, Mr. Carl Stieg, hello there. Ooh, Renier and Pieter Geldenhuys switching positions. I switched away knowing that this was going to happen, and I was worried that I was going to miss it. I'm a bit irritated at that. That must have been an interesting battle. So Francois Erasmus on the back of Dirk Brandt. Dirk is also not too far behind Sean Hards there, so he's going to be looking to improve a bit here. Sean getting very, very out of shape there, just dips a wheel onto the grass, but he gets back, and I don't think Dirk quite could get his nose past for an overtake there. Oh, and up ahead I see Pieter Geldenhuys and Renier Leach swapping around places. So this is definitely not one of those battles where one of them will concede. I'll try and get back to that in a moment. Hopefully we'll see some more action there. Okay. I have a bit of a frog in my throat tonight. Not sure why. Oh, Francois Erasmus is really piling on the pressure here on Dirk. Coming up the hill. Not sure who has the car that has the power for the straight here. Dirk running very defensively. Francois Erasmus is on the outside. I'm not sure if he'll be able to get this overtake done before turn 1. Dirk will have the advantage, although Francois does break significantly later. He's still ahead, and he does come out of turn 1, making that move a success. Dirk is not going to let up. I am sure he'll be battling with that. He'll be trying to get battle his way back very, very soon. But it is allowing Waldo Swiggers to also make get closer and try to make a move. Dirk not just getting pressured or feeling the pressure to try and catch up back to Francois. And again, Renier Leach and Pieter Geldenhuys swapping positions up front. Ooh, Waldo being pushed very, very wide there. So, as they come through the last few corners here, gonna come around the bend, up the hill. Did Waldo position himself in a good place? Not quite. He's not going to have the drive that he's maybe looking for. Warren Oates does make a move on Shiraz Dada as they cross the finish line. So we're at about 10 minutes, well, almost 11 minutes left on the race. So more than half of the distance still to go. Up ahead, not Renier. Oh, Renier has managed to build quite a gap on Pieter Geldenhuys. But Brett Krokamp, he is all over the back of Mr. Nick Hodgson there. Yes, Cleopas, that is exactly it. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. I'm sure Peter is not checking out. He is going to be battling hard soon. Oh, and I do see Dirk Brandt also losing out of position there against Waldo Swiggers. Looking close there, James Leach. He is right on the back of Gerard Niemand there. Not quite in a position to make a move. I think this might be the last turn that they're coming up to. Yes, so he'll be focusing on setting himself up for a good drive. He's in the slipstream. He takes the inside line. This might be the move done. Side by side down the main straight there, and he does get by. Oh, my cameras are just failing me a bit now. Ooh, kind of sideways, but Gerard is forced to fall back in line behind James Leach. If I had a better camera angle, I would have... Oh, James getting very, very wide there. Coming side by side. No, not quite side by side. Gerard is definitely not letting up. As they come through the I read that now. It completely slipped my mind what that corner was. James under an immense amount of pressure here by Gerard Niemand. Coming up almost now to the second last corner. Oh, it's very, very sideways there. And it's now around the last corner. Can Gerard set himself up for a move into turn 1? Don't think he's quite there. It allowed James to not have to run too defensively, and James could set himself up for a very good run. And that is that battle for now. But according to my watch, or the gap times that I'm seeing, Franco Erasmus, let's go and have a look there. Franco Erasmus right on the back of Sean Hards going into turn 1. Just not quite able. Ooh, slight tap there, but they both keep it going straight. Sean making that that car of his very, very wide. But he's now fallen back a bit, and Waldo Swiggers is looking to make a move on him. Waldo doing immensely well pushing through the field there. Not sure why this TV camera looks like this. I might need to have spent some time and edited that. But we're looking good. Three-way battle here for a top 10 position. If this was the previous season where we had reverse grid, this would have been the battle to watch. I do see up ahead James Leach and Stefan Herps swapping places. But Franco Erasmus and Waldo side by side coming down the main straight into turn 1. Franco brakes is later on the brakes and he stays ahead, although he does run a bit deep, and he does stay ahead into the Omega curve. Dirk Brandt falling back, unfortunate. Quick, I completely forgot about this. In terms of tire choices, Majority is on hard tires. Stefan Herbst on mediums. Sean Hards, Francois Erasmus, Bjorn Buchner, and Shiraz Dada also on mediums. The rest of the field are all on the hard tires. So Francois might be feeling a bit of the heat with the medium tire there. It is possible. So from some of the feedback from Nick there was that the softs are basically unusable. They overheat immediately, and the mediums can be managed to get, but they get hot towards the end of the lap, and they need to be managed back down again. So I'm assuming he was referring to the quali pace of the tire there. Let's see if I can go find a close battle. Stefan Herbst and James Leach side by side into turn 1. Stefan throwing it up on the inside there and making that move stick. Although James Leach is going to be battling hard. They've been swapping places all night. But to quickly get back to the tire choices. So with the mediums getting hot towards the end of the lap, I'm assuming if you're managing tires, you'll not be running at your absolute fastest race pace. I'm not quite sure how much quicker the mediums are, but both the mediums and the hards they kind of fall off of a cliff towards the end of their lifetime. I was expecting hard tires to be used exclusively throughout the race. Maybe someone might take a gamble, try to do a hard medium or a medium hard in the feature race, which is a bit longer. But we'll get to that. There's some strategy around that, and I've got some insights, some juicy insights that I'll share once the race gets going. Okay, I did see some position swapping around, but Stefan Herbst is side by side with Gerard Niemand into turn 1. Gerard on the inside line, brakes very late, runs a bit deep. Stefan might be able to get the cutback there, does not quite make it stick. He has to keep to the outside there into the Omega curve and falls back in line. Apologies. Gerard falls back in line behind Stefan. Gerard is not letting up. He is right under that wing, running slightly wide there, just showing his nose, maybe trying to unsettle Stefan a little bit. Stefan does run slightly wide. 3 minutes left on the clock. Ooh, Shiraz Dada falling back all the way down into 19th. He must have had a bit of a moment. Into the Sachsenring curve they go, and Stefan runs a bit wide. Who was that? James Leach also running wide. Gerard not quite able to capitalize. He might have had a moment as well. Yes, Carl, it is great to see the Nissan up there. Yes, okay, I'll share. There's some interesting fueling insights to gain. So maybe we can see some action tonight with the Nissan not being so far behind. Gerard is all over Stefan Herbst still. I think they're almost leading up there into... Okay, they're in the Rolf Waldman curve. Into the Sachsenring curve they go. Gerard taking a slightly wider line there. James Leach and James Leach Senior swapping some places there. Ooh, Stefan just running wide there. Gerard did stick his nose out. Oh, and they both run wide dips, dipping a wheel onto the ground there. And on the main straight, they're side by side now. Stefan running a very, very defensive line. Hopefully that won't catch him out too much. Might allow Gerard to attempt the cutback maneuver, but not quite enough. Not necessarily the pace he was hoping for. We have about 45 seconds left. I want to quickly see where Ross Bartle is. Yeah, he is going to come around the bend and he will start one more lap. Gerard really making Stefan work hard there. This is going to be the penultimate lap for them. Oh, yo, he just keeps it together there, almost running into the kitty litter, but that did build up quite a gap there. James Leach must have had a bad moment there. He's fallen back down all the way to 10th now, after he'd managed to take 8th from James Leach Sr. So, leader is on the final lap. Ross has led this race from flag to flag. He hasn't put a foot wrong. Not sure. I don't think that is Nick Hodgson behind him. He's managed to lap someone in the very first lap, in the 20 minutes that this race has been going. Oh, Nick is getting slightly closer. Is he maybe going for some shenanigans, trying to go for a photo finish? Just tempting Nick with the win here. Or is this tire management? Nick was maybe not as hard on his tires and it's allowing him to close up the gap. I just don't think there's quite enough time for this to stick though. Through the session curve they come. Up the main straight, and it has been an absolutely amazing race for Nick, for Ross there, followed by Nick, followed by Brett Krokamp. Renier Leach, he's managed to build a 7-second gap on Peter, so he's gotten himself a well-deserved 4th position finish there. But Peter has done very well for himself, top 5. That is a very decent finish. Stefan Herbst, he is still under a lot of pressure from Gerard Niemand, but they cross the finish line in 6th and 7th. James Leach Sr. crosses the line in 8th, Waldo Swiggers, and James Leach brings it home in 10th. I am going to go for a quick ad break while we get over into the next server so that we can get going for this feature race. See everybody in a bit. Okay, we are back. There's still about 2 minutes left of this practice session, and then we'll start with another 10-minute qualifying session. I am in my medical car this time around, and then the previous race I was in the lovely pace car, but now I've switched to the medical car. We hop on board with Nick Hodgson, just going out for an exploratory lap. With the track grip set so high, I don't think there's too much evolution. It mostly depends on that, like, 1% of randomness. Okay. So, while we patiently wait, I am going to share some insights here. Not sure if the drivers are listening in on the stream. Their quali is about to start, so I'm not 100% sure if they listen in, or if I don't always have the ability. But apparently, so taking 16 liters of fuel is about the same time as a tire change. So this previously, I think most people had brimmed their tanks. Because a fuel change in these cars are quite slow, and that is one of the reasons the Nissan struggles so much. The fuel load, well, it's a very thirsty car, and it's actually requires going for a refuel, where most of the other cars can make the entire race on one tank. For the sprint race, I didn't check, but I think there was about 15 laps. And I think we can expect 29, maybe 30. We'll see. Or laps in the feature race. But it brings a slight change of strategy, I believe, and I think it's something I'm hoping the drivers had experimented with, knowing that it was who it was that shared this info with me. I'm sure they've discovered it, and I won't be surprised if some of the other teams also have discovered this. But I'm excited. I really do hope that we get to see some interesting strategy play out and have some good fun with this next race. Does look so. Just looking through the list, does look like you have all of the drivers connected. So, this is still the overtime of the practice session. This is the moment where drivers can collect their thoughts. They can get ready, make sure that they have their quali setups loaded. And I think just overall we're in for a very exciting race here. First race was quite exciting, although the front three there, as expected, they just ran away with the entire race. Not that I'm complaining. I'm just saying. I'm quite excited to just see what the mid pack can do, given the battle that we saw between Sean Hards and, oh no, I've forgotten his name. And I think Francois Erasmus. There is going to be some hard racing here tonight. All right, I'm gonna hop on board with not Dirk, Nick Hodgson. I know he always goes for he just hops out of the pits immediately and tries to go for a good lap. It is also important. Oh, he just jumps to pits. Maybe he's had a bit of a moment. Johan Buchner. This was someone we didn't quite see as much from. Hopefully with the longer race he can bring some excitement. Bjorn, of course, in the BMW. I see. I think that's Alan, maybe Kieran Patterson in chat. Hello. Not sure which one of you two gentlemen is watching, but welcome to tonight's stream. Okay, so James Leach Sr., he starts a lap as well as a few cars up in front of him. So, while there's a bit of a silent moment, I'm gonna quickly just double check. So, for those... hello Kieran. I thought it was you. I know that Alan's chat usually shows up as PWSR second channel. Big Sean, I'll try and do that quickly. It's usually a bit iffy when I try and switch between pages, but I'll see what I can do for you. Okay, so Brett Krokamp pops up with Francois Erasmus as well, Gerard Niemand. These are just some of the first laps coming in. That was a very, very weird artifact. Not 100% sure what was going on there. I'll try and keep an eye on it. If that persists, I might have to quickly restart my game. Hopefully things don't go awry. But before we continue, I want to just quickly punt. Everybody, like we are just past the halfway mark into the 2021.2 season, but it is still possible to sign up. You can just head on over to simracesa.co.za. Find the sign up form there, submit it, and then one of our admins will come back to you. We ask for a minimum donation of 150 Rand to our charity of choice, it being for this season the Abba Specialist Adoption and Social Services. And to date we have raised about 33,000 Rand, 83 Rands and 88 cents. So I'm quite chuffed being able to go and read that number out. It's great to see the sim racing community pull together like this, and as I mentioned, there's still opportunity for those interested in joining. You can come and race with us. Loads of fun to be had across the various divisions, but I'm just quickly punting it there for those that are interested. Okay, so Ross Bartle, he is up in first, Brett Krokamp in second, and James Leach in third, just managing to pip Nick Hodgson. I'm not sure if Nick is maybe playing a long game here. We'll have to wait and see. I'll try and find someone on a fast lap. Dirk Brandt is coming to finish his first lap. That is not quite good enough to promote him further up the field, but I'm expecting him to be laying down some rubber in the coming laps. Already showing there is a bit of time for him to find just in the first corner alone. So Ross crosses the finish line for pole on a 124.054. Absolutely flying tonight. Hey, Dirk Brandt coming around there. But This is the last corner. He is half a second up on his delta. That's going to promote him quite a bit up the field, although not quite as much. Okay, that's only one position that it promotes him into. So he's currently in 14th. Trying to find Nick is half a second, 7/10 up on his delta there through the second last corner. He's going to be doing very well on this one, but it is not going to be enough for a second. So he's falling in line behind Brett in third. Maybe it's going to be switched around. Brett's going to have to be working hard to keep Nick behind him. Gerard Niemand 3/10 up on his delta. Ooh, Brett shouldn't be disconnecting now. I'm still trying to see if that tower of glitched out nonsense is still on the track. No, it is not. Okay, so I don't have to reconnect. Gerard Niemand up into 5th right now. Dirk Brandt 3/10, 4/10 up on his delta through the last corner. I don't think he had a decent exit. He's going to manage to keep hold of the 3/10 though, and that promotes him back into 14th. So right about, I think, where he qualified in the first race. Definitely showing that he's, if anything, he is very, very consistent with how he's qualifying in this race tonight. Renier Leach almost half a second up on his delta. Still a long way to go. He has to make sure that he keeps it consistent, keeps it clean, and he'll be able to try and pip out his brother for 4th position, I think. I don't think it's going to be quite enough to get to Brett Krokamp. And as I say that, Nick is now ahead of Brett, so I must have missed the lap there. Not sure if it was due to Brett disconnecting that a lap was lost. We'll have to wait and see. So Renier gaining a bit on his delta. He crosses the finish line and he goes up into 4th. Shiraz Dada coming up the main straight here. That puts him in a solid 8th position. Dirk Brandt still showing that he has some pace in hand, making that BMW work hard up this hill. Gains 3/10, and that gains him one position for the start there, and puts him into 13th. Mr. Gregory Hofart, though, is saying, I will have none of that, Dirk. I am coming back for that position. Half a second up in his delta as he comes through the Sachsenring curve. Just has to navigate the last turn successfully and make sure that he gets a good drive up this hill. 6/10. Very, very good. That's going to be a solid effort from Gregory as he pops into 11th there. Well done to him. So we are into overtime right now. Waldo Swiggers crosses the finish line to bump into 9th, and Warren Oates manages to get a 15th for him. Nick Hodgson just 0.008 of a second faster there on his previous sector. Gonna be interesting to see what he can do. 0.016 of a second, so his delta is currently about 0.3. He's showing that there is still some time to find for him. I don't think it's going to be quite enough. He's done very well around this track, but he is making sure that buffer between him and Brett is big enough, even though it isn't necessary. He's just making sure that he has the practice. Alrighty, so as we step into the next session, I will double check what is. We'll hopefully jump back onto the grid soon. But before then, we'll go for a quick ad break. See everybody in a bit. Okay, so we're back on the grid. I'll quickly find Brett again so that we have a decent view. Find a decent TV camera, and again, we've got that glitched out tower. Hopefully that's not going to create too much confusion. We're about 20 seconds away from the start. Ixon, I need to apologize. I can't bring up the leaderboard with the tires, although I'm looking at the grid and the entire grid except for Sean Hards is on. Sean Hards and Shiraz Dada is on mediums. 5, 6 lights. They drop the clutch and away they go. Very, very busy start there. Always have to hold my breath for this turn 1. But it's looking like everybody's getting around cleanly. Lots of movement up and down the field. Not everybody getting the best of starts, and some people getting better starts than others. But we're side by side into the first turn there. It was not the first turn, into the third turn. And it's looking quite racy already. James Leach in a train there between Pieter Geldenhuys and Francois Erasmus, followed by Stefan Herbst. I think once the movement settles, we'll be in for some decent action soon. Down below, Bjorn Buchner and Rowan van der Westhuizen maybe having a bit of a shuffle. Hopefully they're not getting too tussled up, and they can get back on the road and keep their heads down. Yo, James getting a very good drive there, but sitting right on the back of Pieter Geldenhuys. Looks like he's almost attempting a bump draft there. Pieter running defensively, so James dives out wide. Pieter, James just slightly tapping Pieter on the rear there. They both keep it pointing in the right direction and keep going. Stefan Herbst and Gerard Niemand. Basically running nose to tail, and behind them James Leach and Waldo Swiggers is also looking very racy. As Alan would say, quite the ding-dong battles happening here tonight. Just gonna hop back to Sean Hards. I think he might have had a bit of a rough qualifying. He is sitting behind Dirk Brandt right now. And this gap is going to be close. I'm sure Dirk is working hard to keep them, him and Shiraz Dada behind him. It's all going to be about getting good exit out of this turn so that you can try and make a move into turn 1. Derek may be running slightly slow through the apex there, so it's going to allow Sean to peek out on the inside. They're side by side going into turn 1, and Shiraz Dara is running close behind. If Derek's not careful, Shiraz might also try and stick his nose up on the inside, and he does. Ooh, in the background I just saw Bjorn Buchner disconnecting, well, not disconnecting, flying off into the background. He might have had a bit of a lag moment there. Just going back up the grid, Gerard Niemand and Francois Erasmus. Francois, of course, having quite the battle with, I think it was Stefan Herbst earlier. Just catching up there. Lots of new names, it seems. Dave786, hello there. Johan Niemand, hello, welcome. Hope everybody is enjoying the race. We're about 5 minutes into our feature race. Going to be an exciting one to see what everybody is coming up with in terms of pit strategies. But they're all showing, oh, Gerard throwing it up on the inside into the last corner there. What a beautiful move. I am sure that warrants an instant replay. I would love to see that. Just kept the momentum going there. Francois not quite sure what was happening. He just got caught out having to run wide there. Slowed him down. What a beautiful move by Gerard Niemand there. Absolute class. So, we're running with Waldo Swichers on the back of James Leach Sr. here. I am sure the leeches are all in a voice chat though. From what I know, I think they like talking to one another. Ooh, Waldo getting all kinds of sideways there. Not sure if you want to be doing that this early in the race, with the tires falling off. So the hard tires, what did I say? I think it was about 16 laps the hard tires will start falling off. So if we're expecting 25 laps, that's halfway through the race. That's you don't want to be leaning on the tires too much. Waldo is looking, he's piling all of the pressure on James Leach Sr. there. Yes, Peter Geldenhuis, he's still in 5th position there. That's, if he can keep that up, he'll finish in the exact same position, I think, as he finished in the sprint race there. Although, I do think an undercut might be a bit of a tall order. The current pace, the current lap difference is about 3.8 seconds. You'll have to run very, very quick to make that stick. James Leach Sr. coming side by side here with Stefan Herbst into turn 1. Stefan on the inside line. He's going to be able to defend that, but it's forcing James Leach Sr. slightly wide, almost opening up the gap for Waldo Swichers, but Waldo just not quite getting the drive that he might have needed to stick his nose on the inside there. James Leach is closing down this gap behind Peter Geldenhuys. Peter has done very well to get himself into 5th tonight, but James Leach is not going to make it easy for him, and I do see Stefan Harps and Francois Erasmus switching places, so they're also keeping their battle from race 1 alive. And it's the dice into turn 1. James Leach in the slip there, sticks his nose up on the inside. Is he going to go for the outbraking maneuver? Yes, he does. Peter having to take a bit of an early entry there. Still managing to keep it up on the outside. It's now going to be the inside, so he does stay ahead of James Leach there. But oh no, they're still side by side. I do think it's going to give James Leach the better position here into the next few turns. Oh, Peter just running wide, but he stays ahead. Whoa, that was quite some racing there. These two drivers showing that they can keep their heads calm, keep it collected, and have some good clean racing. James Leach somehow managing to slip on the inside of Peter there. Peter maybe misjudging that turn, not quite getting it into the apex. I'm holding thumbs for Peter. Can he hold on to the back of James Leach there? I'm going to quickly switch to Shiraz. He's all over the back of Dirk Brandt down in the battle for 17th position. Christy Simon looks like he maybe had a few issues. He's about 2 laps down. That is very, very unfortunate. Shiraz coming in very fast into Sachsenring. If he has the run, he might be able, not quite on the inside of the last corner there, but he will be in the tow. He might be able to make a move into turn 1. Dirk's going to have to keep his calm here. Maybe he's thinking about the cutback here. Stays ahead. Dirk running very wide, giving one another the space they need, and Dirk's staying ahead. That is the two drivers showing some good discipline, and this is the type of racing we want to see. Drivers that they're aware of one another, and they're making one another work hard to hold on to a position. Ooh, I do see Christy Simon is on softs. Not quite sure how that happened. Maybe that was an incorrect strategy that was loaded. But those softs are going to be burning up. It's now all about just riding it out until you can afford to go pit for hards to not lose too much time. So, Francois Erasmus all over the back of Stefan Harps. They've been switching and chopping and changing places all night. Ooh, Stefan getting very sideways there through the Omega curve. And they're closely followed by Waldo Swiggers as well, so if they're not careful, their battling might be a case of two dogs fighting over a bone and the third one coming and taking it away from them. Dirk Brandt and Shiraz Dada still basically nose to tail. Shiraz just showing his nose there on the inside. Dirk got a really bad exit there. They're side by side going into Sachsen curve, but Dirk manages to stay ahead. Slight contact, which might have unsettled the cars a bit, but that's the rubbing is racing. Isn't that what we like to see? Dirk might have compromised this exit here a bit too much. Although I think Shiraz maybe didn't quite foresee Dirk parking it a bit there. Sends it up on the inside, goes for the outbraking maneuver. Dirk has a slight lockup, he goes for the cutback. Shiraz parks it beautifully on the inside there, and he gets the overtake done. I'm gonna stick with it. I hope I've captured... Oh no. I hope I've captured the replay. If this relaxes, I'll quickly see if I got that on replay. I did not. Oh, that is so unfortunate. Okay, let's go and find some battles again. I still have that funky tower. Not sure what that bug is. Luckily, it's not looking like it's impeding the drivers. It's only an issue on my end. So, battle for 8th here between 3 cars. Stefan Herbst, Waldo Swiggers and Franco Erasmus. Franco must have lost out to Waldo there while I was looking at Dirk and Shiraz. But I do also see that Shiraz and Dirk has managed to catch up to Ruan van der Westhuizen, so they'll be looking to try and gain some positions from that as well. Hopefully their battling is not going to impede them too much. We are also approaching, I think, the pit window. If we go for a 50-50 pit strategy, it should be around the 20-minute mark that we start seeing drivers go for their pit stop. So Stefan Herbst is also catching up to James Leach there. That might have been the case, yes, Leopas. Although I think it's just Renier maybe driving away a bit. I do see Shiraz making his way past Ruan there for 16th. Dirk will likely follow suit soon. Big SRAC support here tonight, eh? Field has relaxed a bit, so closest gaps here is Stefan Herbst and Waldo Swiggers for 8th position, and I think Dirk Brandt and Rian van der Westhuizen for 17th. Maybe let's go switch to that quickly. Dirk is likely going to be looking to make this move very soon. Oh, slightly wide, almost into the sand there. Dirk is on a bit of a recovery drive here as well tonight, after him and Shiraz tangled a bit into T1. It's all about focusing for that good exit, get into the toe, try and make the run into turn 1. Not quite sure if Dirk has it. Maybe he'll go for the lunge, try to outbrake Rian there. Not quite. Rian running very, very deep. They're blocking up, trying to avoid him. They're getting his nose there up on the inside, and he gets a beautiful overtake on Rian. Which means I am going to switch back to Waldo, who is battling with Stefan for 8th, who is looking to be battling with James Leach for 7th. Always good to know that the SRS, well, when your team seems to be in a driver sandwich. Oh, Waldo getting it very, very sideways there. Okay, so we're at the 20-minute mark. I'm expecting people to consider pitting right now, and Ross Bartle goes into the pits with Nick Hodgson taking over the lead. Brett Crocump does the same as well, so Brett may be trying to go for the undercut there on Nick. Hopefully Nick can get his head down and put... well, it's hammer time now, Nick. You need to put in the good laps now. Waldo might be in the tow here with Franco Erasmus. Yes, I think he is. Does he stick his nose out? He does. Takes the inside line. Goes for the outbraking maneuver. Ooh, the car coming out of the pits, maybe just unsettling him, and he runs very, very deep. That is costing him dearly. Franco Erasmus gets away, and oh no, that's heartbreaking to see. Sean Hards is in the pits. So lots of movement right now. Gerard Niemand is right on the back of Ross Bartle, but Gerard is still to pit. They're trying to still, him and Peter are still trying to catch up to Rainier Leach there. Sean Hards is in the pits. So Brett has come out in a bit of traffic now. Nick is in the pits. Trying to just quickly switch to Nick. Nick is exiting the pits well ahead of Brett right now. But Nick has managed to get ahead of Ross Bartle. Ross is closing down that gap though. He might have been able to get his tires up to working temperature, and he's going to be battling hard. I know that Point Blank rarely has team orders, so they're going to be driving as hard as they can, while trying to still avoid one. Apologies for that. Getting very excited and just getting a bit caught up with some wind. Okay. So Brett overall losing out by quite a bit. I do think some of the drivers still yet to pit. So yes, Gerard Niemand, Pieter Gelderhuys, James Leach, Rainier Leach and Stefan Herbst yet to pit. But that does mean that Brett has built quite a gap between himself and Ross there, which won't be ideal for him. I think we're currently with the net leader, Mr. Nick Hodgson. I've found it to be a bit of a pattern. It's not usually a single driver from point blank taking both races. It's one of each. It's two drivers taking the wins. So Nick is going to be focusing hard here. Brett Crocombe switching places with James Leach. No, I'm lying. Stefan Herbst. Stefan saying, no, I want to hold on to the back of you there. This might be the case of drivers going slightly deeper, trying to make the mediums work for them. Although I'm not quite sure how much time they'll be losing trying to run these tires for a few laps extra. We are on the 16 lap mark, so these tires will start falling off very quickly from now on. Sean Hodds currently the only one on medium tires, and Christy Simon still 2 laps behind, but he is on the softs. James Leach falling back there. Maybe the grip loss is becoming a bit too much for him to handle. Although, takes the position back from Stefan Herbst there. Renier Leach dives into the pits. He pulls away. Is he ahead? He's ahead of Brett Crocombe, but no! Stefan Herbst and Franco Erasmus manages to get by him. I do think they still need to go and pit, so it won't be too much of a loss. And he is coming out just ahead. Okay, he's going to have to fall back behind Waldo Swiggers, who also still needs to go for his pit stop. Just hopping up ahead, Ross Bartle still all over the back of Nick Hodgson. Gerard Niemand and Pieter Geldenhuis running a good 3rd and 4th position. Hopefully they're putting in some really good laps so that they can make the last stint work for them. Maybe even land the undercut. But as I said, I think the gap was just too substantial to really make an undercut. Well, the overcut. I think the gap is overall a bit too much. Christy Simon, Rian van der Westhuizen in the pits. Keeping a close eye to see what tires they come out on. Ooh, Ross sticking his nose out on the outside. Ooh, there's the car exiting the pits. They're not going to be too much of a problem. Ross forcing Nick there to run very defensively. It's going to put him at the advantageous position into the next turn. But, oh no, Nick just not managing to keep it together. Ross going onto dipping the wheel onto the grass, but just still managing to keep a hold of the lead. Anxiously awaiting Gerhard and Pieter Geldenhuis to come into the pits. They're running very, very deep on these hard tires, it seems. So, Warren A. Oates on the back of Bjorn Buchner. Not 100% sure what the pit situation is here at the back of the field. Dirk Brandt dives into the pits. He's done well for himself to work his way back into 15th, although I do think he is going to fall back to 16th, maybe 17th after a pit stop. Nick still managing to hold on to the back of Ross Bartle here. Yes, they do. Dirk Brandt having a very, very long pit stop there. Maybe he took some fuel. I'm not sure what happened. So Brett Crocombe, he has arrived in the back of Pieter Geldenhuis. Pieter, of course, still on laps that are tires that are now 19 laps old. I'm not quite sure what the pace difference is here, but I'm certain that it's going to be substantial enough that the overtake shouldn't be too difficult for Brett. Although I don't think Brett would be having a comfortable second finish for him on the cards. He has a comfortable podium, but I don't think second is within grasp for him. Throwing it up on the inside of the Sachsen curve there, Pieter Gelderhuys is just sticking to his racing line, knowing he's not faster than Brett, so losing the least amount of time by just driving his normal racing line. Both him and Gerhard still driving past the pits, so they're of the opinion that they can make these tires work for even longer. With 10 minutes left, quick back of the napkin math. I think there's about 7 to 8 laps left in this race. If they can afford losing, well, looking at the gap there to René Leach behind Pieter, if he's losing less than a second to René, he might be able to hold on to the lead for fifth position to the end of the race. Gerhard Niemans is a ways up ahead, so they might actually be able to make this strategy work, running very long, or not even taking new tires at all, trying to make the hards work for the entire race. I think it's a tall order, but that's the way I'm reading this strategy right now, because it's really not looking like they're showing any intent of diving into the pits. So just gonna hop to Pieter. He is going to cross the finish line very soon. Gerhard Niemand dives into the pits. So Pieter does a 126.3. René does a 125.3. So that's a second. If my lap count is correct, and the tires don't completely don't get destroyed completely, this might be a strategy that they can make, that Pieter can make work if he's intending to run right up to the end of the race on this single set of tires. Might be a bit of a gamble. Lando took the same gamble this weekend and it cost him dearly. Nick still holding on to the back of Ross there, but Ross just showing that he's slightly faster and he's able to manage that gap behind him so that Nick doesn't get the overtake. James Leach Sr., he's within a second of Stefan Herbst, but I'm not quite sure yet if he's going to be able to get close enough to make a move stick. So Gerhard went into the pits from 4th position. He came out in 7th, about 9 seconds behind Waldo. That is a bit of a tall order to try and close that gap. And it does show the amount of time that they maybe lost running so deep on the hard. Had a bit of a misclick there, but Nick is now almost a second behind Ross. So just looking at the gaps, René Leach has closed down the gap to Pieter down to 2.7 seconds with 7.5 minutes left on the clock. That is definitely not enough time, enough of a gap. I think René will be able to close that gap quite quickly. Waldo might also be able to close the gap enough to try and make a move in the dying moments of the race. So I will just quickly check. Gerhard did come out on the medium tires. Oh no! As I say that, It looks like he's had a disconnect. Oh no, I really hope that wasn't the case. No. Oh no, he had a disconnect. That's gutting. No. He had such a good race. Hopefully he can get back in. Waldo Swiggers dives into the pits. So I think that is going to allow Pieter Geldenhuys a very decent gap to ensure that he can get a top 5 finish again in this race as well. Pieter runs a bit wide there, and it allows Renier to fly by. But there's a 38-second gap to James Leach now. So if Pieter can just manage his laps from here on, he is almost guaranteed of a top 5 finish as long as the tires don't get absolutely destroyed. I see 19 drivers back. Gerard Niemand, he is back. But he has dropped down all the way to 18th. Ooh. Almost getting tangled up into a pancake there, but well, if that was commentator's curse, I apologize profusely, Gerard. That was not the intention. So James Leach Sr. closing down the gap on Stefan Herbst. Keeping an eye. I'm curious to see what the lap times are for Pieter and James Leach. Pieter Geldenhuys, 1:29.4. James Leach is 32 seconds behind him, but I'm expecting him to be doing around a 1:27, 3 seconds faster than Pieter right now. .125.5, so almost 5 seconds, well, 4 seconds faster than Pieter Geldenhuys. And there should be, let's jump to Ross quickly. Ross is crossing the finish line right about now. Ooh, this might be tight. He just might be able to get in 3 laps still. Side by side going into turn 1. What is going to happen here? Bjorn Buchner, Sean Hards. Ooh, who's that on the inside? That might be Gerard Niemand. Let's double check. Yes, that's Gerard Niemand in that sandwich between Sean Hards and Bjorn Buchner. Trying his best to stay out of the way. I do think he will be shown blue flags right now. Ooh, getting very, very sideways there. Waldo Swiggers now. What did James Leach Sr. do? just drove off of the track. Well, that's an easy position for Waldo as well as for Francois Erasmus. Right. Gregory Hofart side by side now with James Leach Sr. Coming into turn 1, James is running the defensive line. Hofart breaks very early, goes for the late apex, just not quite able to slip up in front of James Leach Sr. there, but he does have the inside line coming into the Omega curve. They're still side by side. Slight door banging. Oh, James Leach just gets out of shape, throws out his tail, and it allows Gregory to slip by as well. Just want to check in with Pieter Geldenhuys. He is absolutely nursing this car home. So, Ross Bartle. Not sure what his current lap time is, so it's a bit difficult to judge, but I do think he might be able to get one last lap in. There is still a 28-second gap between James Leach and Pieter Geldenhuys. I do think this is, well, this is within the realm of possibility there. It's a risky move, but Pieter has definitely made it stick. I think overall it made for some interesting racing tonight to see his strategy play out. Yes, 7, 6, 5, yes! Ross crosses the finish line and starts the final lap. Gonna jump back to Gregory Hofart. He is still quite... he's still close to James Lee. But just not quite there. Shiraz Dada also, he just had a moment coming out there. Oh no, that's unfortunate. Was hoping that there might be a bit of a spicy battle between him and Sean Hans. Ross coming around the Volkswagen curve there, almost dipping a wheel onto the kitty litter there. Maybe taking a few chances, but also maybe not. Just relaxing a bit on this final lap, allowing Nick to close the gap, but still comfortably manage bring this home and take a well-deserved win for both races tonight. So as they come around the last bend, up the main straight, that's a well-deserved win for Ross Bartle, followed by Nick Hodgson for second place. Brett Krokamp coming through the Sachsen curve. And up the main straight to close out a point-blank 1-2-3 for both races. And Renier Leach bringing home a well-deserved fourth position finish, with Pieter Geldenhuys still nursing that car, bringing it across the line. Definitely, in my vote, that was drive of the night. It's tough to make a strategy like this work, where you're driving an entire race on hard tires that just completely fall away. James Leach going to be closely followed by Stefan Herbst. Not quite sure what the battle is here. Stefan on medium tires. Ooh, this might be interesting. I don't quite think the straight is long enough to really gain something. So James Leach will be breathing a sigh of relief as he crosses the finish line for 6th, with Stefan Herbst taking 7th. Waldo Swiggers finishing in 8th, and Francois Erasmus bringing home 9th, with James Leach Sr. bringing home a well-deserved top 10 finish there for him. Oh, let me catch my breath. I am going to quickly go see if I can find some people for a quick interview. Hello, Mr. Ross Bartle.
It's us.
How are you, my good friend?
Very hot and sweaty.
Congrats. You won both races there tonight. A well-deserved win. Let me quickly ask, what exactly happened? How did Nick manage to get by you with the pit stop there?
I think I overshot a little bit. I didn't have to reverse, but I think I'm not used to these AC pit stops. So, and I was also pretty close to the pit entry. So, obviously, maybe locked up the brakes a little bit and slid a little bit too far into the box. He probably had a better in-lap than I had as well. I had a shocker. So,
that's unfortunate. I actually think he ran 2 or 3 laps after you. So he was open air. Did you come out into traffic at all?
No, luckily not. Came out just behind Nick, so it was the only one in front of me, luckily.
Well, I mean, congrats there on the win. I'm not sure if you caught wind. I saw Peter Geldenhuys managing to do an entire race on just the hard tires.
Well, that's pretty... It's an option. We thought maybe 1 or 2 might still do it a bit more. It was an option the previous race as well, so... but it's tricky at the end.
I found it interesting. Yeah, it was very tricky. He was doing laps that was about 4 seconds slower than the rival that was chasing up on him. But it was a bit of a nail biter. But pretty soon, close to the end there, I saw it was able to make it work. Any weirdness with the car? Happy with what you guys had set up? Overall feedback from the race?
Yeah, I think it was good. I think I definitely had a more aggressive setup. You could see that by the sprint race where I was able to just pull away. But then Nick caught at the end again because the tires had gone. As soon as they dip into the yellow, it's gone. Lap time drops off by like 0.3 of a second. Even in the last race, he then caught up again in those last couple. So he definitely had he was better on his front right than I was. So yeah, it's just a case of make a move early and try and make it stick or pull away or
make it stick and then manage that gap. It looked like you were managing the gap a bit once you were ahead.
Yeah, that was the plan.
Well, congratulations. That's going to be, I think, 200 points in your bag after tonight. So hope you had fun. I had a lot of fun watching you guys really battle it out.
Yeah, that was good fun. Thanks, us.
Okay, cool. Thanks for swinging by, and have a good night.
Well, you too. Cheers, man.
Cool. So that is Division 1, Round 6 of the SimTC series in the 2020 1.2 season. Quickly gonna just mention it again. If you want to get in on the action, you can head on over to simracesa.co.za, find the sign-up form there, submit it, and just be ready. We do ask for that 150 Rand donation. And coming up on Wednesday, we're a bit tight on streaming these days. But coming up on Wednesday, there will be the Division 2 and 3. Not sure if there's enough cars for a Division 3. I didn't check yet. But it's going to be exciting. I'm sure the Div 2 racers are going to be giving it their all to try and make their way into Div 1, because this is where the action is, but there's also plenty of fun to be had in all of the other races. Next week we'll also have, I think, the F3 series, so the SimGP series at Silverstone. Let me just confirm that. I know that there's a bit of a scary race coming up. Yes, round 4 will be on Silverstone, so that's also coming up. I'm quite excited for that. It's one of the tracks that I had my very first race on. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what the action is going to be and how we're going to manage that. But I think that is all from me. Thanks everybody for swinging by. I had a lot of fun tonight. I hope everybody watching had a lot of fun. Have a great week, everybody, and I'll hopefully see you soon.